Welcome to Living Life, the show that allows you to pursue things that make you happy, curious, and keep you open-minded. This is Living Life on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. Hi, welcome. It's my favorite time of the year. It's the holidays, and we're going to celebrate Christmas today on Sweets, Treats, and Eats. I'm Howie Morgasen. So the holidays are that time of the year that's very festive. You get together with family and friends. The kids anticipate the arrival of jolly old Saint Nick as he comes down the chimney with presents and gifts for everybody. Also, a big part of the Christmas holiday is traditions and food. So traditions like this one over here, which is the gingerbread house that I built with my grandson and we decorated. He did a really good job on that. Also, a big part of the holiday is food. And there's lots of different food that you have on the holiday. I married into an Italian family, so Christmas usually has an Italian flair to it. And the beginning of it typically happens with antipasto. So what I have for you here today are two examples of classic Italian antipasto that you serve around Christmas time. And I just want to go through some of them with you so you can see what we have. We start out with some artichokes, and these are marinated in oil and have some spice to it. Here are some red peppers here that are also marinated in oil. We have some Genoa salami here, which has a little kick, also delicious. Marinated mushrooms, really good. And then across the back here, jardiniere, which is pickled vegetables. So you have cauliflower, and carrots, and onions, and hot pepper. And then no antipasto would be complete without a cheese platter. So over here we have two cheeses. We have a ricotta salad, and we have provolone. And we have some carrots for garnish over here. So these are traditional antipasto platters. There are lots of other things that you can put on antipasto platters, and in some families it takes up the whole table when you're putting it out. And then after that is the meal that you have. So that's a little bit about antipasto platters, and when we come back, we're going to do another tradition, which is breadsticks wrapped with prosciutto. So we hope to see you then. We're here on Living Life, Sweets, Treats, and Eats. We're part of the Empty the Bench Podcast Network at ETB Network. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Living Life ETB. So now let's make some prosciutto wrapped breadsticks. So you can see here, I have some breadsticks. These are small breadsticks, but you can also use large ones. This has sesame seeds on it. If you don't like sesame seeds, you don't need them. They make breadsticks in all types of varieties, so get the ones that you like. So we start out with a breadstick, and we have some special Italian ham called prosciutto. It's really very good. When you get it at the deli counter, make sure it's not too thin, but too thick. If it's too thin, it'll never come off the paper and it'll be a mess. So what we do is we take the breadstick, we put it down on the ham, and we roll it. And you roll it, and if it comes off, that's okay, because since you're rolling it, it covers a lot of mistakes that you make. So let's take another breadstick, and let's take the paper off there. And now we have the next piece of ham. And we just roll it, we pull the paper back, we keep rolling. You roll it as tight as you can, and that's our second one. Take our paper off, take our next breadstick, and we wrap. So this is a pretty easy thing to make. You could use other meats too if you want to. If you don't like prosciutto, you can use salami for this as well, or you could even use cheese on it if you wanted to. And then we have our last breadstick for now, and we'll take our ham And we'll just roll it as tight as we can. Okay, and that's our last one. So we did 4, and then what I'll show you is I've been working on this platter before. So here's the platter, and I'm just going to take my breadsticks and transfer them to my platter here, as you see. And then I have my completed platter of breadsticks. And so let me show you how great that looks. And it's going to be a big hit on your antipasto table. So I hope you enjoy it. And when we come back, we're going to talk about endive and a blue cheese dip that's out of this world. So stay with us.
You're watching Living Life, Sweets, Treats, and Eats on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. If you're looking for a new favorite podcast in the areas of sports, pop culture, or news and entertainment, you should check out some of the fresh voices and fresh perspectives on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at ETB Network. Again, that's both on Facebook and Twitter at ETB Network. The Empty the Bench Podcast Network. We're more than just sports.
Welcome back to Sweets, Treats, and Eats. I'm Howie Morgasen. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. That would be pictures and links and recipes at Living Life ETB. So check us out. Now let's make a little endive and a blue cheese, cream cheese spread. This is a very forgiving recipe because you're putting stuff together. You start out with this sort of dip here, and it includes cream cheese. We used whipped cream cheese. You can use either regular cream cheese or whipped cream cheese. Just make sure you take it out and give it a chance to warm up so it's soft and easy to mix. And then you take crumbled blue cheese and you put it in with it. You mix it all around till it's smooth, and then you put a drop of milk in to sort of make it really smooth to deal with. If you want to spice it up a little, you can put in some garlic salt or some onion powder, whatever you want to sort of, put the taste that you want in it. So first you have the spread, and then you have endive. And endive is like a lettuce. It's a fancy lettuce. So, once or twice a year you do something fancy, you get the fancy lettuce, right? Which is endive. So we have it, we sort of cut it up, we wash it, and make sure it's dry so that when you put the stuff in it, it sticks to it, it doesn't sort of fall off. So what we're going to do is it's very simple. So we take a little bit of the spread and we put it down the center of the endive, and then a little more maybe. Okay, and then once we do that, we'll put it down over here. We'll grab the next endive. We'll take a little more spread. We'll put it down the center. Make sure you spread it out nicely. So every bite you get some cheese. Okay, and then we take the last one and we sort of put it in and we spread it out. Okay, so now we have the endive and the blue cheese. So the next thing we want to do is we have some toppings that you can put on it. So I'm just going to grab a paper towel here, clean my finger off. Okay, and now we have 3 toppings here, but there's an endless amount of toppings that you can put on this. We have pistachio nuts, we have red pepper cut up, and we have some olives. You can use any type of olives that you know or you like. Any type of pepper, you can use fresh vegetables like carrots or green pepper or yellow pepper, and any type of nut that you'd want to use. So it's really pretty simple. So you would take, let's say, the pistachios, and you just put it on like that. And then we take a little bit of the red pepper and we put that on. And then we take some olives and we just put that on like that. So that's what that looks like. So what I've done is I have a platter that I've been working on. So let me bring that platter up over here. So as you can see, I've been busy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my endives that I worked on here with the toppings and put them here. And then let's dress up these endives over here, shall we? So we'll put some nuts on some of them. Some olives over here. And grab some red peppers and put those on as well. And I'm going to work on those to, finish the platter, make it look really good. But again, this is a very simple dish to put together, and it's very forgiving. The spread can have, spices or anything you want in it besides the blue cheese and the cream cheese. The toppings, you can use any kind of topping you want. And it's a real crowd pleaser. People really like it a lot. So when we come back, if you check out the menu here, you will see that we have Phyllo shell cranberry Brie bites. There's a mouthful, and they're yummy. So check us out when we come back.
Hey everybody, I'm Nick Morgasen. I'm the co-creator of the Empty the Bench podcast network. This network is all about having fun, freedom, and flexibility. It's the 3 Fs. We cover it all from sports, music, entertainment, and more. Follow the podcast network on social media on Facebook and Twitter at ETB Network, and make sure you follow all our shows for all the latest that's coming out as well. And we will see you in the future.
We're here on Sweets, Treats, and Eats, part of Living Life on the Empty the Bench podcast network. I'm Howie Morgasen. So now we're doing and let me get it right, Phyllo shell cranberry Brie bites. That is a mouthful. And this is, again, a really easy bite to put together based on stuff that you buy in the supermarket, so there's no fancy cooking or preparing or anything like that. We're working with these little elegant Phyllo shells. You can buy them in the freezer case in your supermarket. So we're going to start with those. You're going to preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And once it's preheated, you're now going to prepare the Phyllo shells. And it's very simple. We have Brie cheese over here, which is a fancy French cheese. It's soft and it melts really well. So we're going to take the small little bites of Brie and we're going to put it in each of the shells like this. And make sure they're small, because if you make them too big, they're going to melt over the outside of the shell and make a mess. So we're going to put the bites in here. After we do that, we're going to put this tray, which we've sprayed, by the way, with cooking oil to make sure things don't stick. And we're going to put it in the oven, as we mentioned, at 400 degrees. And it's going to cook for 5 minutes, and you've got to watch it. So, and then you take it out when it's all melty, and we'll come back and we'll finish them off. So we'll see you in a minute. Okay, now our bites are out of the oven. They were in there for 5 minutes at 400 degrees. And as you can see, our Phyllo bites with the Brie cheese are nice and melty. And now we do the next part of this dish. So over here we have 2 toppings that we're going to use. We have a fig preserve and we have a cranberry sauce with whole cranberries in it. So it's real simple. You just take a little bit of the fig preserve and you put it on top. Take a little bit more. So it'll work our way through it. And I said I have fig preserve and cranberry sauce, but you can use almost any type of jam or jelly. You might want to use something like an orange marmalade. That might be really nice. You can use strawberry preserves. You can use blueberry preserves. So sort of anything that you want. So that was our fig preserve. Now let's take some cranberry sauce with the whole berries in it and put that on as well. A little bit there. A little bit more. And then also, as far as cheeses are concerned, we used Brie for this one. And Brie is yummy, but if you don't like Brie, you can use any good melting cheese. You can even use like a Munster or a cheddar if you wanted to. and you can sort of use your imagination to sort of make whatever you want. So here is our finished platter of our Brie Bites, and they look really yummy, and your family and friends are going to really, really like it. So next up on the menu, we have a great spinach artichoke dip that we're going to put in a sourdough bread bowl. I can't wait. Please stay with us. Hi there. You're watching Living Life, Sweets, Treats, and Eats on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. You can check out our other programs by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Empty the Bench Podcast Network. And thanks for watching. All right, so now let's get to our spinach artichoke dip sourdough bread bowl. So as you can see here, I have my sourdough bread bowl. And what I did to save time is cut off the top and hollowed it out. And you can see over here, I've cut it up into small pieces. We'll deal with those in a little bit. I have my spinach artichoke dip, and I bought this from Costco because it's really good from there. I'm sure your local supermarket would have it as well, so why waste the time? There are recipes on the internet for spinach artichoke dip, so if you want to try your hand at it, by all means, feel free to do that. But it's really simple and it's really tasty, so why not? So for the breads, the same thing. We're using a sourdough bread. If you don't like sourdough bread, you can use pumpernickel, you can use rye, you can use whatever bread your family enjoys. You're just going to buy a whole bread as opposed to a sliced one. So when you go to the bakery to buy it, just say that you want a whole bread or you're going to use it for a bread bowl, and they'll know exactly what you're talking about. So we have here on the platter our hollowed out bread bowl, as you can see. And we have our dip, our spinach artichoke dip. So what we're going to do is just basically take the spinach artichoke dip and fill up the bread bowl best we can. And what you want to do is you want to warm up the spinach artichoke dip, before you put it in the bread bowl, because it tastes better when it's warmer. You can eat it cold by all means. The direction says you can do that. So, but if you warm it up, I find that it tastes much better. Okay, so we've filled up our bread bowl, and now what we're going to do is put it into the center of our platter, and then we'll start placing around the outside strategically the different types of bread that we have. And what people will do is, when they see the platter, they'll see the bread on the side. And you could put crackers next to it as well if you want to, if they don't want the bread. And you want to have some type of serving thing like a small knife or a spoon that they can work with. And this is a great looking platter, and it tastes great as well. And the nice thing about it is there's no cleanup because you eat the bowl. So that's our spinach artichoke dip. There you go. It looks really, really good. And I think that your family and friends are really going to enjoy it. So next up on the show, what we're going to do is the small little mozzarella balls that we have, and tomato. We're going to put them together to make a Caprese Bite. And I know you'll enjoy it, so stay tuned. Now there's a traditional Italian salad that has been around for years, and it's called the Caprese salad. And a Caprese salad is made up of mozzarella cheese and tomatoes and a little basil on the top and then a little balsamic vinegar. What we're going to do is a Caprese Bite. And so it's takeoff on a Caprese salad. It's easy and it's fast. So why don't we make a few? We'll show you what they look like. So to make it, we have some small grape tomatoes. We have some mozzarella balls, which you buy in the supermarket this way. We have some fresh basil that we washed and cut up. It's wintertime here, so we had to buy the basil at the supermarket, but during the summer, my in-laws grow basil at their home, and we have plenty of basil to work with, so we had to get the basil from the supermarket. We have some cocktail toothpicks that we have here. And then over here we have the balsamic glaze, which we're going to put over them when we serve them. So why don't we get started? So it's really simple to do. We take our toothpick We take a grape tomato and we skewer it on here. We take a mozzarella ball, we put it on here, push it down. We take a piece of basil, we fold it, we put it on, and then we seal it off with another grape tomato. And we put it on our platter over here. So let's make a few more. We take our toothpick, okay? We take our grape tomato and we skewer it on the stick. We take our mozzarella ball, we put it on there. We take our basil leaf, put it there, and we seal it up with another grape tomato. We put it on our nice platter over here. One more. So this is a good time to remind you that if you want to know more about our show, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Living Life ETB. And there you'll see clips and you'll see links and recipes from the show. So check that out. So let's continue on with our Caprese Bites. So we have the tomato, we have the mozzarella. We take our basil leaf, our tomato, we put it on there. I think maybe we'll get one or two more on here. So again, we take our tomato. It's very straightforward. This might be a fun thing to work on with the kids, where you can get them around the table and they can hand you the various pieces. You can put it on the toothpick for them. And so it might be fun to try out. So I think we have room for one more. So let's grab a toothpick, grab a tomato, okay, grab a basil leaf, and then seal it all up. So there is our really nice platter that we have of our Caprese Bites, another enjoyable piece of our antipasto for Christmas. So I hope you enjoy it, and we'll be right back. So now we have another fun dish, and this is a pull-apart Christmas tree. Something that the kids are really going to like, because when you put it on the table, everybody can pull their piece to enjoy. So as you can see, it's made up of these dough bites that we have over here. We decided to use wheat bread, but you could use regular bread if you want. We have some mozzarella cheese, and we have some grated cheese that we're going to put over the top when we're finished. So why don't we get started? So what we do is we take the piece of dough, we flatten it out like this, and then we take a little bit of the mozzarella cheese, we put it in the center, we close it up, and then we bring the sides down, and then we make a nice little ball. And then what we do is we'll place it here, because that's the space we have. So we form the tree, and now we're going to put a base on the tree. So we take another piece of dough, we flatten it out, we take some mozzarella cheese, which is going to melt and become ooey gooey. And we put that here, we form the little ball, we put it down here at what's going to become the base. We grab another piece of dough here, we flatten it out, and this is something that the kids could help you with as well. Dough is kind of fun. It's like Play-Doh. So you take, again, some mozzarella, fold it, bring it down, and I think the kids will like the touch or the feel of the dough. It's a little bit like Play-Doh, as I mentioned. So there's another one for the base, and then we need to do two more. So again, we have our dough, we flatten it out, we take a little bit of cheese, fold it over, bring it together, and one more to go for our base. Okay, flatten it out like we did. Grab a little bit of cheese, pull it together, and then once you put it on the tray, you need to make sure they're very close together, because it's pull-apart bread, So when it bakes, they're all going to get connected, and you're going to have a nice little tree. So if you take a look at that, that's our Christmas tree. It's ready to go in the oven. We preheated our oven to 450 degrees, and we're going to put it in there. Before we do, we take a little bit of grated cheese and we sprinkle it over the top so that gets melty on the top of it. And then when we come back, we're going to finish up our tree and take a look at it. So stay with us. All right, so we're out of the oven where we cooked our tree at 450 degrees for about 10-11 minutes. So you have to watch it when you're cooking it because it can burn in a hurry. So keep an eye on it to make sure that it gets done just right. And this looks great. And the next thing we have to do is we have this sort of dressing that we're going to put over the top. And this is butter, parsley, thyme, and a little salt. So what we do is we're just going to brush it over the top using a brush that we use like for barbecue sauce and other things. We're just going to put this over the top, brush it all over, and that's going to add a lot of flavor to it. So we're going to make sure we get everything covered. And take your time to make sure because it's going to make it even more yummy than it is. All right, so there you have it. And then I'm just going to put a little cracked pepper over the top. It's a good measure. And there you have it. There is our pull-apart Christmas tree. So when we come back, a surprise, a special guest, and a special holiday cocktail. So I hope you join us. So welcome back, and I have a special guest with me, as you can see. This is my son, Nick. Nick, say hello.
Hi.
And Nick is my producer. I could not put this podcast on without him, so thank you very much for all your help in putting this together. And why don't we put together a holiday cocktail?
Oh, because we're big drinkers, right?
Yeah, and we're going to use your favorite, which is limoncello.
Yay!
So we're going to do a lemon drop cocktail. And it's very simple. So Nick, we start with 2 ounces of vodka, and this is enough for 2 drinks, so we're going to make for the 2 of us. Okay, then we have 1 ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And then we have 4 ounces of limoncello liqueur. So put that in, very nicely fashioned. All right, and then we put the cover on our shaker, make sure it's closed, and we give it a shake. Make sure it's all together. Then we have our 2 glasses here with ice. All right, and now we're going to fill our glasses. Okay, and there we are. So Nick, this one's for you. And I will say happy holidays,
Right.
Season's greetings.
Make sure you follow the podcast network, especially Living Life, at ETB Network.
And all the links, recipes from the podcast you can find on Facebook at Living Life ETB. So here's to a great holiday season. Cheers.